Welcome to a new daily top Askreddit video. Today's topic: what are some things you'd only know by growing up poor? How to keep a 7-year-old from knowing she's poor. My mom used to take my brother and I to the soup kitchen every week to volunteer. We must always be kind to those less fortunate, she'd say. Then, after volunteering, oh, it's so late and I don't feel like cooking. Let's just eat here while we're here. This speaks volumes to me. When my sister and I were growing up before the age of 10, we were pretty bad off. Though we never knew it. Our parents were so good at not cluing us into it that we didn't even know until we were adults. We lived in rural Texas, and a couple times a week, my dad would come in and say to us, "I noticed a lot of people littering on the way home. We should go do our part to keep our community beautiful and clean." So we would go walk up and down the highway picking up cans and glass bottles. We would then take them to the recycling yard where we got to watch the cool machine shoot the cans at the big pile of crushed cans. I later found out we did that because we couldn't afford basic necessities, and we were collecting recyclables, which the yard paid for by the pound at the time, so we could go buy a gallon of milk, eggs, and bread. My parents are my role models now, and I only hope I have been half as good a parent to my kids as my parents were to me. Your mother is a remarkable person. She absolutely is. And now that I have 2 kids of my own, I realize every day that I'm turning more and more into her, and I couldn't be happier. When someone breaks into your house but doesn't take anything. Happened once. Still think it's funny. Poignant. Thief realizes he's not as desperate as the people who live there. The burglar breaks the window, steps inside and looks around. Says to themselves, "Man, I better put $20 here so they can get that window fixed cause it's going to be chilly tonight." I saw a story once, still unsure if it was real or not, about someone who had only an old mattress and a sheet in their tiny apartment. Some people broke in and saw that there was nothing, then waiting for the owner to come home. They told the owner what they were gonna do but then realized how little the guy had. According to the story, the criminals then, over a few weeks, gave the guy a TV, a bed, a fridge, and some other stuff. He never asked where they got the items from. Your comment reminded me of it. So they acted as Robin Hoods. Stole from the relatively more rich and gave to the poor. You go to bed early to skip a meal. Edit, thank you guys so much for the gold and silver. I'm having Reddit awards for dinner today. Sleep for dinner. And a deep breath for lunch. Nowadays they call it intermittent fasting and it's a trendy diet. I actually work with someone who was explaining intermittent fasting to the office. Then you hear me, from the back office, "I've done that before, except we called it poverty." Everyone laughed. They thought I was joking. Your dad asking you for $20 so he can go to work for the week but he'll pay you back when he gets paid. Yeah, my dad would randomly give me $5 every month or 2 months. Sometimes I saved it up and it always hurt when he needed $20 for gas. I didn't get mad though because it was his money originally. I remember my dad breaking down in tears for the first time that I've seen and asking me for my birthday money so we could eat. I ended up giving it to him, never got it back but he's made up for it by now. That birthday sucked, man. Edit, I'm so very touched by all of your stories. I decided to call my dad and tell him how much I love him and how grateful I am for all the things he's done for me. We had a very heartfelt conversation that I'll remember for a long time. Knowing the cheapest thing on the menu at every restaurant, for when your friend's family invites you out to dinner. Even though you're not paying, you're programmed to only select the cheapest thing. My friend's mom said you sure like hot dogs. That's all you order no matter where we go to eat. I learned these things because I expected that they'd try to pay for me and if I lost the "no I'll pay for it" battle, then at least I wouldn't be gouging them. I still hate letting others pay for me though. I feel like a moocher. Edit, gosh, y'all are so wholesome. If anybody needs a pick-me-up, read the comments below this one. Made me smile. I feel scared that they'll judge if you order anything expensive. You develop an appreciation for hand-me-down clothes when they come your way. Yes, because they were usually still in style and clean. So much joy going through garbage bags of hand-me-downs and trying stuff on. I remember being so excited getting like 4 to 5 bags of clothes from an older cousin, especially an older cousin you viewed as cool. IDK about in other states, but in MN they can't shut your power off during the winter because of the danger of someone freezing to death in their house. So that was a good time to try to catch up on some other bills you are way behind on too. They just passed the law in Arizona where it is the other way around starting next summer due to it being 100 plus all day and night regularly. Everybody is curious to see how it is going to play out. They passed it because an elderly woman with Alzheimer's depended on her children to pay it for her, when they forgot she had no A/C for the summer and died consequently. A lot of states aren't like this. But in the Midwest some states won't allow evictions during the winter either for the same reason. In Wisconsin you can still be evicted during the winter, but because you won't get your electricity shut off for not paying most people priorities, the rent and evictions go down. Libraries can save your life. The first part of my childhood I would get home from school, usually to a vacant house. I really wouldn't know if I was even going to see either of my parents each night. No cell phones of course. But I was always nervous at least, of what would happen if they did decide to make an appearance. I started walking to the library every day after school and staying till they closed every night just to avoid the feeling of anxiety for a little longer. Eventually one of the librarians noticed and took a liking to me. I think she might have been through similar things in her life that she saw in me. Gradually we got to know each other. First I started noticing there were more books being added in the genres that I liked. Then one day after the library closed, I walked over to McDonald's. I was a quarter or so short to buy a hamburger and she saw me asking people if they had any change. I saw her and was embarrassed and kinda hid from her. From that point on I think she decided that she was going to take me under her wing. For over a year she would come by my desk at the library and just drop off chips, granola bars, pop, whatever you know. Of course, I would tell her I didn't need it, when in reality I only knew where one meal would come from each day. When I would ask her where it came from, she would just say it was extras from the break room, even though I could hear her in there putting coin after coin into the vending machine. Eventually she would just bring dinner every night to the library and we would sit down in the break room with each other and eat. I finally opened up to her about my family/living issues and had her to talk to. Even though I was still pretty guarded, this was a huge relief. Then, after I had been there almost 2 years, it was the week before school started, and I headed into the library. Before I left she told me to meet her outside after close. I did. We walked to her car, and she pulled out a brand new school backpack, and inside was a new outfit, binder, and shoes, my first Nikes. That's when I broke down, and my walls crumbled. She was a single lady working off a librarian's income, but she still made room for me. For 3 years she supported me as much as she could, and she was more of a friend than I had ever experienced up until that point in my life. She is the #1 reason I got out of that house and life. She was with me at all my adoption hearings, and made sure I was put with a nice family. She was at my graduation, and my wedding. She saw me grow up and succeed in life after coming from the bottom. She saw her work and love pay off. I went to her funeral this summer and it felt like I had lost my mother, but I couldn't stop reflecting on how much she changed my life through her sacrifice. Truly an amazing person, and I still donate to the library every year. Edit, so I've only really been active on Reddit for a couple months. I think this is how you're supposed to do this though. It's really cool for me to see that this affected people. I wrote it, and just expected/intended it to kind of disappear into the other 15 Kelvin comments, and sometimes it just feels good writing stuff out. So just to level with everyone, I only talk to my closest friends about this in my real life. So let's label this a mini therapy session, if you will. Thanks to everyone for the gold/silver. Like I said, I'm a noob, and don't know much about gold, so I will be reading about it after work, haha. Appreciate everyone's kind comments. This made me tear up and smile. I love libraries. If we're being honest, I did up writing. Just have been thinking about it a lot lately. I'm hungry. Drink some water. We were probably the best hydrated children at school, Mayo. But I think the thing I appreciate most is the independence I've gained, through fixing things to keep them going or from just not wanting to ask my parents for help when I know they are struggling too. Edit, thank you to the kind Redditor for the platinum. I'm comparatively new to Reddit and have never received a medal before, so forgive me if I'm going against protocol. Wow. I didn't expect this to resonate with so many people, but I've just read through everyone's comments. You're all beautiful, strong, and resourceful people, and you deserve the world. I wish you all the best in breaking free from this destructive cycle. It is possible, and if my best wishes can do anything, then it will be possible for you. It's kind of funny to me that a weight loss tip is to drink a glass of water when you feel hungry, and wait a few minutes before actually eating. A bunch of times, when you feel hungry, you were actually thirsty.